Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at people who legally killed someone. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. It sounds so weird to say legally kill someone. I just know half of these stories are going to be so sad. I paralyzed someone in high school football scrimmage and they later died years later from complications resulting from the paralysis. I became friends of the family and they have emphasized over and over again that it was not my fault, but I still feel guilt and it weighs on me. That's so sad. That's true. It's not their fault. It just happened, It's just one of those unlucky things. Because, for sports, you're prone to get an injury. That's so sad. I had to make the decision to shut off my 10-year-old son's ventilator when he was dying from complications of his genetic neuromuscular disease. He was on hospice. I held his hand the whole time and felt his heart stop. This was in 2022. It haunts me every single day. I have nightmares and panic attacks. That's so sad. I think that this would probably be the saddest one because that's your own kid. And to feel your kid's heart stop, I think that's traumatizing for life. Was the victim of a break-in when I was 20. Was over at my buddy's house for a few days. His parents had just left for work and the guy probably thought the house was empty. I was in the bathroom and heard a loud bang, bang, bang. Almost sounded like a hammer hitting a wall. Wasn't too concerned until about 15 seconds later, I hear my friend shouting and then something breaking. So I got out of the bathroom quick as hell and that's when I heard the burglar saying, "Let go, I'ma effing stab you." I couldn't see anything from the end of the hall, but I knew something bad was happening, and time just felt slow and I just knew I had to get my friend's shotgun from his closet. So I crossed the hall, grabbed the shotgun and ran to the living area. And there's my buddy pinning the guy against the wall and in his hand is some large knife. So I racked the shotgun thinking there wasn't one in the chamber. Ends up there was one. So it jams when I pump forward and the guy stops and looks at me. I freak out and start to stumble backwards. The dude pushes my friend off and turns towards me. I come to my senses and rack the shotgun again and the shell flies out and the new one loads in. I don't remember pulling the trigger. I think the adrenaline literally took my body over. Just boom and the whole room shook. My ears were ringing and everything felt so vivid and the guy just collapsed. No scream, no theatrics. He just fell to the floor face down. My friend grabbed the knife from the ground and ran to the phone to call 911. I remember standing there just looking at him. I couldn't move. It felt like an hour, but as soon as my friend was assured the police were on their way, he came and got me to sit down. That was 18 years ago and it still feels fresh. It was an emotional month or two afterwards. I wasn't charged with anything. Police were very understanding and the family of the guy didn't press for any lawsuits. But I kept going back and forth on whether I did the right thing. But I've accepted the guy had a knife. I was scared. In the end, both my friend and I survived. I'll let God decide if I was in the right. I definitely think they were in the right. Self-defense. Because if you had a gun and someone was charging at you with a knife, would you really not use your gun? They had the intention to kill you first. What you're doing is just self-defense. And it just sucks that they have to question it because they also feel really guilty for taking a life. And that's also going to traumatize them for life. I mean, they had to do it. They had to do it. I'm pretty sure if they didn't do it, their friend would have died, they would have died, and who knows, they could have hurt more people. So I think they did the right thing. A guy attacked me in a party. I punched him in response. He fell to the ground and hit his head. That was it. No last words, no agony, no nothing. It happened so fast, it doesn't feel real. I was just defending myself, so I can't say I feel guilty, but it feels weird. It's so easy to lose your life. I wasn't trying to kill him. I just responded to his attack out of reflex. I never thought something like that would happen. Do yourselves a favor and don't start fights because life is more fragile than you think. The guy's family tried to put me in jail, but luckily there were enough witnesses and I was released. However, I moved out of the town shortly after, afraid that his family would seek revenge. Yeah, I feel bad for this guy. I mean, what do people expect you to do when you get attacked? Obviously, you're going to fight back. I mean, yes, you can run away, but the first instinct you have is to fight back first and then you run away. Especially since the at a party is probably crowded. So yeah, I feel like this is just unlucky for the other guy. I agree, don't start fights. Yeah. There's no reason to really start a fight. Stabbed my rapist in the spleen with a rainbow anodized Kershaw pocket knife my dad gave me for my 18th birthday. I felt and still feel no remorse. Whoa, nice. He deserved that. I'm a physician and provided medical assistance in dying to a man with end-stage COPD. It is legal where I live and he would get out of breath eating a sandwich. I don't think it changed me, but it was the first time as a doctor I went from trying to keep someone alive to giving them medication to die. Whoa, that is crazy, hey? The fact that you're in there to save people, but then you also have to be in there to assist with someone who's dying. I ran over a pedestrian who jumped in front of my car. Still wake up sweating about it. Why do they do that? Oh man. I feel bad. I mean, obviously I feel bad for the both of them, but like, so sad. One person lost their life and one person is traumatized for life. I was on leave in 2007 and struck and killed a 15-year-old girl whose mum had hit a dog in the night, and I couldn't see anyone in the road because she was bent over the dog and the car had bright lights shining at me. I slowed down and merged to the middle of the road to avoid sideswiping anyone on the side, not seeing the girl. Killed her on impact. I still get paranoid when I see kids on the side of the road or running into it. Had nightmares for years after. All I could remember was running to the girl's body and doing compressions and seeing her lifeless eyes staring back, while her mum beat me in the back of the head screaming murderer. The FHP did an entire investigation and ruled I wasn't at fault because I was sober, and the rental car I had luckily had an onboard computer that recorded all the events prior and after to the accident. I still have guilt and doubt, always questioning myself, is there anything else I could have done to avoid it? That's so sad. Yeah, he didn't see her, so it's not his fault. But honestly, that's also true. You shouldn't just be in the middle of the road at night, right? Because people can't see you. That's so sad. I feel for the mom too, because everything just happened so quick and you're not really thinking. So obviously you're going to be like, you ran over my daughter, you killed my daughter, because you know that's all she can see right there. That is so traumatizing. I'm a survivor of a home invasion. To keep it short, 2 men broke into my house and I shot both of them. One didn't make it and the other is in a wheelchair for the rest of his life with a colostomy bag. He only survived because I rendered aid and caught it in fast. This was also during COVID. If you don't want to get shot, then don't invade a home. I mean, I'm assuming this is like in places where like most homeowners own a gun. Would you really still want to rob a house if you know that? Like, if you're living in an area where it's normal for everyone to have guns in the house, why would you still be trying to rob them? That's a bit risky. A female friend of mine had been in a relationship with a guy whose drug habit made him pretty volatile for a few years. He became infamous for his fits of rage and even hit her on more than one occasion. When she finally left him, I wanted to help her moving out of their shared home. When we got there, he was obviously high as a kite and almost immediately accused me of having an affair with her and being the reason she broke up with him. Honestly, I do not even remember what my answer was, but things escalated immediately and he put out a knife and lunged at me. My dumbest mistake that day was to enter the flat far enough that he managed to position himself between me and the front door, so I could not just get the hell out of there. I tried to get the knife out of his hands and ended up with some pretty deep cuts, but somehow managed to avoid getting stabbed and finally got him into a headlock and wrestled him to the ground. I started choking him out while keeping the other arm of the knife away from me with my other hand. After what felt like ages, he stopped struggling and got limp. I immediately let go of him and got my friend to call the police and an ambulance. She had been frozen in place and turned completely pale during the whole ordeal. Her ex-boyfriend kept completely unresponsive until the emergency services arrived. I had to go to the hospital myself as my cuts required me to get stitched up. While I was still in the hospital, the policeman who had been at the scene after arriving along with the ambulance informed me that her ex-boyfriend had been pronounced dead. I was under investigation for manslaughter for a brief period of time, but it was quickly ruled out as self-defense. That is crazy. How is that manslaughter if you're defending yourself? But that's good that it did rule out to be self-defense. Because imagine if it didn't. Imagine if that was just on your record for your whole life because you defended yourself. Honestly, I don't really know how to put into words how I feel about what happened that day. I'm sad about losing my friendship to her after this event. As she said, seeing me always reminds her of this incident and she couldn't bear it. I feel stupid for even letting it come so far. I should have known better than to enter the flat or even interact with him in his state, as I had known about his outbursts for years. I never was a fan of people doing heavy drugs, but since that incident, I get extremely uncomfortable around people who are obviously high on something, which in my hometown is a surprisingly common sight, unfortunately. I still think he did the right thing. Even though it cost him his friendship, he definitely saved her. Because there could still be a possibility that if the ex was still alive, he would probably still hurt her. So, I think he did something good. I shot a home invader 10 years ago, protecting my girlfriend and I who were living on our own not long after high school. I hit him in the chest after he broke and climbed in through a window and came into our bedroom. I don't relish it. He had family and kids, but I would make the same decisions again, as who knows what would have happened had I not. It bothered me a lot more years ago, but I've long since come to terms with it. I had a hard time feeling comfortable in my own home again for a while, but it almost feels like it happened to a different person now. The last time it affected me was a few years after. I was working and someone broke glass the next aisle over, which really took me back. Wow. They did the right thing too. Obviously, if someone's invading your house, you gotta protect yourself and everyone in there. The people who are trying to rob the place are the dumb ones. Why? Why would you do that? He had family and kids. Oh my goodness. That's more of a reason to not rob a place. I mean, it's sad that they died, but it's like it could have been avoided. Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!